Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to be doing a practice that focuses on improving our posture. So I have an extra prop with me today. I have a broomstick here. I literally just took this off of a broom, unscrewed it. So find something like this if you can, either a broomstick or PVC pipe, something like that, that we can use. We're going to be holding that behind our back for several of the poses today to help us find that really nice mountain pose alignment. And I've got my other usual props, a blanket, a block. Those are optional, but can be nice to have. So once you've found all your props, you can come to your mat and we'll get started. All right, so we're gonna start today's practice in reclined. So go ahead and come over to your back. And I'm gonna be mirroring, so when I tell you to do the right, I'll be doing my left. That's just the way I've always taught. So even though I'm doing from the side and don't have to mirror for clarity, I'm gonna do that just because that's how my brain works. So setting up kind of like we would for bridge pose, but maybe a little extra space between your heels and your hips, a good 3 or 4 inches there. And start to notice the back of your body, your sacrum, where your hips and spine meet, your scapula, the shoulder blades, and your skull, the back of your head. So feel into these 3 points and just notice how there's a little bit of a curve in between each of these points. The back isn't completely flat when it's in neutral. There's a little curve going up to the low back, and there's a little bit of a curve at the back of the neck. So just take a second to notice that and breathe. And we're going to move into a little bit of work for our psoas, which is one of the muscles that attaches at the top of the thigh and runs up to the low back vertebrae. And to do that, we're going to start by coming up into a low bridge. So pressing into the soles of your feet, lifting the hips. You don't have to lift the shoulders off. You might have the lower part of the rib cage, back rib cage lifted. So draw the left and right sides of the rib cage together. Draw the front of the ribs down into the body so the core is on. And we're going to walk our right foot toward the middle of the mat a little bit. Push down into that right foot, lift your left knee. So knee over the hip, left knee bent. And we're going to bring our hands to the top of that left thigh and imagine you're trying to push it away, but you're not letting it move. So you're lifting that thigh up into your hands. You do this, you should really feel that right glute turn on. Hold for a couple more breaths. Keep that tailbone pointing toward the back of your knee, your right knee. And slowly release back to your low bridge. We'll do the same thing other side. So walking that left foot toward the middle a little bit, maybe not all the way to the middle. Push down into it, lift your right knee, knee over hip, hands to the front of the thigh. Push the thigh away, but don't let it move. Lift the thigh back into your hands. So you should really feel that left glute lighting up here. And keep the ribs integrated here. Keep the tailbone pointing toward the back of your left knee. One more breath. And exhale, release down. Lower the foot, lower the hips. Take a breath. And while we're here, we're going to do a little bit of core work. So bringing the hands behind the head, fingers interlace. Lift the elbows up. So elbows are pointing mostly toward the ceiling. And again, think about the ribs here. Left and right side of the rib cage come in toward each other. Front ribs pull down into the body. And as you exhale, lift the head, lift the shoulders, basic crunch. Hold here for a moment. Inhale to release back down. And let's build on that a little bit. So start by lifting the feet, reach the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. Knees don't have to be totally straight. If there's a good bit of tension in the hamstrings, you might have the knees bent a little bit or a lot. So again, as we exhale, elbows point up, head and shoulders lift, crunch, hold. Inhale, head and shoulders come back down. And we'll do a twist next. So exhale, lift up again. Reach your left hand across to the outside of your right leg. See if you can lift a 1/2 inch higher. Come off the shoulder blades. Inhale back to center, release the head down. Exhale, lift back up. Little twist to the left. Extend that right arm out to the outside of your leg. See if you can lift up a 1/2 inch higher. Come off of that left shoulder blade. Inhale back to center. Release everything down. And just take a breath here. All right, so we're going to come over to tabletop for a moment next. Find that broomstick. We're going to use it here as we find our tabletop. So we're going to bring that stick to our back with one hand. We'll need the other hand to hold ourselves up. And find those 3 points: skull, scapula, sacrum. Once you've found those 3 points, touching the stick or as close as you can get to it. Maybe the back of the head can't quite get there while you have the scapula and sacrum. If that's the case, that's fine, but get as close as you can with all 3 and set the stick aside. Wrist under shoulders and start to slide your right foot back. Reach your left hand forward. Slowly lift the right foot for bird dog. So as you were lifting that right foot, just check in and make sure that we didn't drop the upper body down or rotate too much or anything like that. Reach out through the sole of the right foot. And exhale, hand and knee back to the mat. So you can find that triple S alignment. You can use the broomstick again if you need to or want to. When you're ready, slide that left foot back. Right hand reaches forward. Lift the left foot up. Reach out through the sole of the foot. Take a couple breaths. Exhale, hand and knee back to the mat. And let's move through a few rounds of cat and cow just to get in some movement for the spine here. So start to move with your breath. On your exhalations, rounding for cat pose. On your inhalations, extending, arching up cow pose. We'll do a couple more of each. And we'll come back to center. And we're going to move straight into a low lunge from here. So let's start with stepping our right foot forward and finding kind of a tight lunge here. We want both knees at 90 degrees, give or take. We're going to come upright, find that stick again, bring it behind your back. Triple S. Once you've got those 3 points, you can set the stick aside. Drop it if you need to. It doesn't have to be gentle. And then reach the arms up. Couple breaths here. And exhale, float the hands down, low lunge. Let's find a twist next. So if you've got a block, you can find that under your left hand if you want to. You can lift your left knee if you like. As you exhale, turn to the right towards your knee. You can lift that right arm up. Even here in this twist, think about those 3 points on your back and think about them being in the same plane. There's a little bit of a curve of the spine toward the ground, particularly in the neck. It can feel good just to release there, but still along the back side of the body, think about that plane going through those 3 points. One more breath. And then exhale back to low lunge. And we're just going to switch to the other side. So right knee under the hip, left foot forward. Find the stick again. Check in with your alignment. Once you've got it, set the stick aside. Inhale, reach the arms up. Couple breaths here. As you exhale, float the hands down, low lunge. And again, finding our twist. Right hand plants either straight on your mat or on a block. Option to lift your right knee. As you exhale, turn to the left. And as you move into this twist again, think about that plane going through those 3 points on your back. And exhale to come back to center. From here, we're going to step up to a forward fold. So right foot moves up under the hip. Keeping some length in your spine, even here in your forward fold. Start to root down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up. Palms together. Exhale, hands to the heart. And let's just bring the arms down beside the body for a moment. Find our mountain pose. So we've had a good bit of practice with that mountain pose alignment from the hips up. So here you can just integrate that from the hips down to the heels. One more breath. And let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge at the hips. Keep the back flat as you move into your forward fold. Maybe starts to round a little bit as you get toward the bottom. Planting the hands, and we're going to step the right foot back. Coming into a high lunge, we're going to keep that knee lifted. We're going to move into warrior one. So drop that right heel down. As you come up, bring your stick with you. Bring it behind your back again. Find that triple S. And actually, I changed my mind. Instead of warrior one, let's do crescent. So lift that right heel. That way we can have our right knee bent a little bit. And that should help us get a little closer to that good alignment in the spine. So once you've got your triple S, we're going to keep the stick here this time, and we're going to hinge forward. So hinging forward, deepening into that left hip crease. And then inhaling to come upright again. And again, you can bend that right knee as much as you need to here. Let's do that a couple more times. So exhaling to hinge forward, hinge as far as you can without losing that alignment. So if you find yourself starting to lift the chin away from the chest, to arch the head back into your stick, don't do that. If you find yourself arching the tailbone up or anything like that, then also don't force into it there. So one more time. Then back up. All right. So we can remove the stick from your back, hold on to it, and we're just going to come back to our forward fold and set it down for a second. Long spine here. And same thing other side. So left foot steps back. As you come up into that upright lunge, bring the stick with you. And we're finding crescent lunge, not warrior one. That's my default for high lunge, but today we're gonna have that left heel lifted so we can square toward the front and get in that straight alignment a little more easily. And again, we're gonna keep the stick here, hinge forward as you exhale. Hinge as far as you can. It might just be a few inches before you start to feel yourself losing that alignment. It doesn't have to be really far. Our inhales bring us back up. 2 more times. All right, so this last time as we come up, hold on to the stick, just bring it to your side. And again, we're gonna step forward to our forward fold, set the stick down, root into your feet, press into the ground to lift all the way up. Reaching up, lift the heart, palms together, exhale, hands to the heart. Take a breath here. Next inhalation, we'll reach up again. Exhale, forward fold. Keep that length in your spine, hinge at the hips, let the knees bend as much as they need to. And again, we're gonna come to a high lunge. So step the right foot back again. And this time, if you want to, you can come up to that warrior one. You can drop that right heel down if you like. We're gonna build on that hinge that we were doing and move toward warrior three. So I've got a block at the front of my mat. You may want to have one too. So again, as we exhale, we're going to start to hinge forward and float the hands down and either find your block or you can find airplane arms. Take a breath here and then slowly come back up as you inhale. Back to your high lunge. 2 more times. So you can exhale, keep the back flat, keep the spine long for warrior three. Keep that right hip square to the ground. Inhaling back up. Last time. And back to high lunge as you inhale. All right, and once again, as we exhale, hands will float down. Step the right foot up, forward fold. And let's go ahead and just step that left foot back. Come into our high lunge on the other side. Find that triple S alignment again. When you're ready, you can exhale to hinge forward, load into the right leg, lift up, reach out through the sole of the left foot, through the heel. Inhalation brings you back up. Do that 2 more times with your breath. All right. So again, from here, we're just going to exhale, float the hands down. Left foot steps forward, forward fold. And this time, let's take an extra few breaths here. If you want to just completely release here, let the head hang. You can find that ragdoll variation of the pose. And keeping a little bend in your knees, start to root down into your feet. Slowly come all the way up. Lift the heart as you come up, reach up. If it feels good, you could find a little back bend here. And bring the palms together. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Take a breath. As you finish your exhale, just let the hands come down beside the body again. Find your mountain pose again. And just notice what you feel. And let's inhale, reach up again. And exhale, forward fold. Coming all the way down. Hinge at the hips. From here, let's bend the knees, plant the hands, step the knees back, and let's go ahead and come over to reclined. I'm going to keep the practice pretty short today. So coming to reclined, just take a couple breaths to settle in here. And let's move into our figure 4 stretch. So we're going to bring our right ankle over our left knee. So it's crossing the legs. Notice what you feel here. You may already be feeling a little stretch in that right hip. If you're not, or if you just want more tension there, start to bring your legs up toward the body so that left foot can lift, and we can use the hands to kind of pull the legs in close until we feel that stretch. And of course you can thread that right arm underneath your shin to grab onto the left leg. We'll take a few breaths here. And as you exhale, you can release the hands, but keep your legs crossed. Left foot comes back onto your mat. And if you need to, you can scoot the hips over to the right a little bit, and then let your legs fall over to the left side to come into a twist. And of course, if you need to uncross the legs here, you can. You can just have the knees stacked. Another variation you might want to try out here is, so you can grab your left foot with your right hand or your toes. That can be nice. Maybe even grabbing the other foot with your other hand. And if you're grabbing the feet with the hands or the toes, you can let go. Slowly start to bring the legs back to center, uncross, and other side. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Check in with that left hip. If you need more tension, bring the legs closer in, using the arms to help hug the legs in. Again, we're going to keep the legs crossed. As you exhale, start to release the hands. And if you want to, you can shift the hips over to the left a little bit first. And then exhaling, letting the legs fall over toward the right. And again, as you come into this twist, option to grab the feet with the opposite hand. Another option is to uncross the legs and just have the knees stacked. So wherever you are, we'll take several more breaths. if you're grabbing the feet or the toes, you can slowly release and start to bring the legs back to center and uncross. And let's keep our knees bent for one more moment here. So coming back to the position we started in, just feeling into those 3 points one more time: sacrum, scapula, skull. And from here, you can extend the legs out straight. And we've arrived at our final relaxation pose, Shavasana. So just getting comfortable here, settling in, breathing, letting go of any effort. And I'll be quiet for the next few minutes. If you know that you want to take a longer Shavasana, if you want 10 minutes or something like that, you can pause the video here. And in a few more minutes, we'll close together. And over the next few breaths, you can start to bring your attention back to your mat, back to the room. You can deepen your breath. Start to bring a little bit of movement to your body. Whenever you're ready, you can roll to one side. And from there, you can make your way back up to seated. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Hope you have a wonderful day and look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.